Acts chapter 9. But Sha'ul, still breathing threats and murder against the taught ones of the master, having come to the high priest, asked from him letters to the congregations of Dammeseq, so that if he found any who were of the way, whether men or women, to bring them bound to Jerusalem. And it came to be that, as he journeyed, he came near Dammeseq. Suddenly, a light flashed around him from the heaven, and he fell to the ground and heard a voice saying to him, "Sha'ul, Sha'ul, why do you persecute me?" And he said, "Who are you, Master?" And the Master said, "I am Yeshua, whom you persecute. It is hard for you to kick against the prods." Both trembling and being astonished, he said, "Master, what do you wish me to do?" And the Master said to him, "Arise and go into the city, and you shall be told what you have to do." And the men journeying with him stood speechless, hearing indeed the voice, but seeing no one. And Sha'ul arose from the ground, but when his eyes were opened, he saw no one. And leading him by the hand, they brought him into Dammeseq, and he was 3 days without sight, and did not eat nor drink. And there was at Dammeseq a certain taught one by the name Hananiah. And the Master said unto him in a vision, "Hananiah." And he said, "Here I am, Master." And the Master said to him, "Arise, go into the street called Straight, and seek in the house of Yehuda for one called Sha'ul of Tarsus. For look, he's praying, and has seen in a vision a man named Hananiah coming in and laying his hand on him so as to see again." And Hananiah answered, "Master, I've heard from many about this man and how many evils he did to your set apart ones in Jerusalem. And here he has authority from the chief priests to bind all those calling on your name." But the Master said to him, "Go, for he is a chosen vessel of mine to bear my name before nations, sovereigns, and the children of Israel. For I shall show him how much he has to suffer for my name." And Hananiah went away and went into the house, and laying his hands on him, he said, "Brother Sha'ul, the Master Yeshua, who appeared to you on the way as you came, has sent me, so that you might see again and be filled with a set-apart spirit." And immediately there fell from his eyes, as it were, scales, and he received his sight. And rising up, he was immersed, and having received food, he was strengthened. And Sha'ul was with the taught ones at Dammeseq some days. And immediately he proclaimed the Messiah in the congregations, that he is the Son of Elohim. And all who heard were amazed, and said, "Is this not he who destroyed those calling on this name in Jerusalem, and has come here for this, to take them bound to the chief priests?" But Sha'ul kept increasing in strength, and was confounding the Yehudim who dwelt in Dammeseq, proving that this is the Messiah. And after many days had elapsed, the Yehudim plotted to kill him. But their plot became known to Sha'ul, and they were watching the gates day and night to kill him. But taking him by night, the taught ones let him down through the wall, lowering him in a basket. And having arrived at Jerusalem, Sha'ul tried to join the taught ones, but they were all afraid of him, not believing he was a taught one. But Barnabas took him and brought him to the emissaries, and told them how he had seen the Master on the way, and that he had spoken to him, and how he was speaking boldly at Dammeseq in the name of Yeshua. And he was with them at Jerusalem, coming in and going out. and speaking boldly in the name of the Master Yeshua, and disputed with the Hellenists, but they undertook to kill him. And when the brothers learned of this, they brought him down to Caesarea and sent him out to Tarsus. Then indeed, the assemblies throughout all Yehuda and Galil and Shomeron had peace and were built up and walking in the fear of Yahovah and in the encouragement of the set-apart spirit. They were being increased. And it came to be as Kepha was passing through all places that he also came down to the set-apart ones who were dwelling at Lod. And there he found a certain man named Ananias, who had been bedridden for 8 years, being a paralytic. And Kepha said to him, Ananias, Yeshua the Messiah heals you. Rise up and make your bed. And immediately he rose up, and all those dwelling at Lod and Sharon saw him, and did turn to the Master. And in Yaffo there was a certain taught one named Tabitha, which means Dorcas. And this woman was filled with good works and kind deeds which she did. And it came to be in those days that she became sick and died. And having washed her, they laid her in an upper room. And Lod, being near to Yaffo, and the taught ones having heard that Kepha was there, they sent 2 men to him, urging him not to delay in coming to them. And having risen up, Kepha went with them. When he arrived, they brought him to the upper room, and all the widows stood beside him weeping, showing the inner garments and outer garments which Dorcas had made while she was with them. But Kepha sent them all out and knelt down and prayed, and turning to the body, he said, Tabitha, arise. And she opened up her eyes, and seeing Kepha, she sat up, and giving her his hand, he lifted her up, and calling the set-apart ones and widows, he presented her alive, and it became known throughout all Yaffo. Many believed on the Master. It came to be that he stayed for many days in Yaffo with Shimon, a leather tanner. In chapter 10. Now, there was a certain man in Caesarea called Cornelius, a captain of what was called the Italian Regiment, dedicated and fearing Elohim with all his household, doing many kind deeds to the people, and praying to Elohim always. He clearly saw in a vision, about the 9th hour of the day, a messenger of Elohim coming to him and saying, Cornelius. And looking intently at him and becoming afraid, he said, What is it, Master? And he said to him, Your prayers and your kind deeds have come up for a remembrance before Elohim. And now send men to Yaffo and send for Shimon, who is also called Kepha. He is staying with Shimon, a leather tanner whose house is by the sea. And when the messenger who spoke to him went away, Cornelius called 2 of his household servants, a dedicated soldier from among those who waited on him continually. And having explained to them all, he sent them to Yaffo. And on the next day, as they were on their way and approaching the city, Kepha went up on the housetop to pray about the 6th hour. He became hungry and wished to eat. But while they were preparing, he fell into a trance. He saw the heaven opened up and a certain vessel like a great sheet bound at the 4 corners descending to him and let down to the earth. In it were all kinds of 4-footed beasts of the earth and wild beasts and creeping creatures and the birds of the heaven. A voice came to him, Rise up, Kepha, slay and eat. Kepha said, Not at all, Master, because I've never eaten what is not called food or common or unclean. And a voice came to him again the 2nd time, What Elohim has cleansed, you should not consider common. This took place 3 times, and the vessel was taken back to the heaven. Now, while Kepha was doubting within himself about what the vision might mean, the men who had been sent from Cornelius, having asked for the house of Shimon, stood at the gate. And calling out, they inquired whether Shimon, also known as Kepha, was staying there. And Kepha, thinking about the vision, the Spirit said to him, "See, 3 men seek you. But rise up, go down, and go with them, not doubting at all, for I've sent them." So Kepha went down to the men who had been sent to him from Cornelius and said, "Look, I'm the one you seek. Why have you come?" And they said, "Cornelius, the captain, a righteous man and one who fears Elohim, and well spoken of by the entire nation of the Yahudim, was instructed by a set-apart messenger to send for you to this house and to hear words from you." So, inviting them in, he housed them. And on the next day, Kepha went away with them, and some brothers from Jaffa went with him. And the following day they entered into Caesarea, and Cornelius was waiting for them, having called together his relatives and close friends. It came to be that when Kepha entered, Cornelius met him and fell down at his feet and bowed before him. But Kepha raised him up, saying, "Stand up, I myself am also a man." And talking with him, he went in and found many who had come together. And he said to them, "You know that a Yehudi man is not allowed to associate with or go to one of another race. But Elohim has shown me that I should not call any man common or unclean. That's why I came without hesitation when I was sent for. So I ask, why have you sent for me?" And Cornelius said, 4 days ago I was fasting until this hour. And at the 9th hour I prayed in my house, and see, a man stood before me in shining garments. And he said, "Cornelius, your prayer has been heard, and your kind deeds were remembered before Elohim. Now send to Jaffa and call Shimon here, who is also called Kepha. He is staying in the house of Shimon, a leather tanner, by the sea. When he comes, he shall speak to you." So I sent to you immediately, and you've done well to come. And now we're all present before Elohim to hear all that you've been commanded by Elohim. And opening his mouth, Kepha said, "Truly, I see that Elohim shows no partiality, but in every nation he who fears him and works righteousness is accepted by him. He sent the word to the children of Israel, bringing the good news. Peace through Yeshua Messiah. He is master of all." You know what word came to be throughout all Yehuda, beginning from Galil until after the immersion which Yohanan proclaimed? How Elohim did anoint Yeshua of Nazareth with a set-apart spirit and with power, who went about doing good and healing all who were oppressed by the devil, for Elohim was with him. We are witnesses of all he did, both in the country of the Yahudim and in Jerusalem, whom they even killed by hanging on a timber. Elohim raised up this one on the 3rd day and let him be seen, not to all people, but to witnesses, those having been chosen before by Elohim, to us who ate and drank with him after he arose from the dead. And he commanded us to proclaim to the people and to witness that he who was appointed by Elohim to be the judge of the living and dead, to this one all the prophets bear witness that through his name everyone believing in him does receive forgiveness of sins. While Kepha was still speaking all of these words, the set-apart Spirit fell upon all those hearing the word, and those of the circumcision who believed were astonished, as many as came with Kepha, because the gift of the set-apart Spirit had been poured out on the nations also, for they were hearing them speaking with tongues and extolling Elohim. Then Kepha answered, "Is anyone able to forbid water, that these should not be immersed, who have received the set-apart Spirit, even as also we?" And he commanded them to be immersed in the name of Yeshua Messiah. Then they asked him to remain a few days.